A Sudanese refugee has gone to prison for raping one girl and attempting to rape another, but the BBC missed off some important points. A predatory sex offender from Sudan has been sentenced to 16 years in prison for raping one woman and attempting to rape another. The BBC reported on it, but they missed out some important points. So first of all, the culprit, Ishaq al-Noor, is an asylum seeker. He came to the UK as a refugee 3 years ago from the Sudan, which leads me to wonder, why are we taking refugees from Sudan in the first place? Because consider this, rape has reached, quote, epic proportions in South Sudan, with reported incidents of sexual violence, rape, increasing by 60% between 2016 and 2017. So there's an ongoing conflict there, and I have to wonder why the UK government, if they're so interested in helping people abroad, why aren't they doing more to save the women who are affected this rather than the men who are committing these crimes? And here's another thing that the BBC missed, by the way. He flat out admitted the crimes, accepting his 16-year sentence, and when accused of having raped these women, he just replied, guilty, yes, why not? That's what he said. Now, another thing. The rapes, well, they happened in a sanctuary city. That's right, by the way, the UK does have sanctuary cities, technically. So on 20th of June 2017, it was World Refugee Day. Hull was declared a city of sanctuary by a refugee in Hull, Minster. There was a big ceremony about this, and that's where these crimes happened. They happened in Hull. He dragged one woman into a cemetery, into a graveyard, to try and rape her. Horrific crime. But the idea that a refugee has committed these crimes in a city that's known to be a sanctuary city for refugees tells us an awful lot. Now, the idea of it being a city of sanctuary is more of a gesture than anything. I can't really see any legal reason why or how this would be enforced. I can't find anything. If you know anything, please do let me know. But it still means something, because local activists and politicians all gathered together for this big ceremony and said that the place should be a place of sanctuary. And it's not like our government is going to do anything to try and enforce against that. After much fanfare from local politicians and activists on World Refugee Day last year in Hull, when they declared the city a city of sanctuary and praised the, quote, positive contribution refugees have made to the city, a Sudanese refugee has been sentenced to 16 years in prison for raping one girl and attempting to rape another. Councillor Stephen Brady, the leader of Hull City Council, said about refugees, World Refugee Day and Hull Refugee Week are opportunities for all communities to come together to celebrate the city's historic cultural diversity. In contrast, here's what the 17-year-old victim had to say. It wasn't something I did. I didn't give consent. I didn't even give him a reason. I made it very clear I didn't want intercourse. I said no. Through his actions, he conveyed the message my no was not important, and my body and soul were not worth the value that every human being deserves. My body was violated. And the woman he tried to rape said, I was screaming, no, please stop, no. I thought I was going to be stabbed. He threw me to the ground and dragged me to the cemetery. He didn't say anything in the graveyard. He just forced himself on me. Do our politicians have zero shame? Do they recognise an obvious problem when they see one? When they praise the great qualities of bringing in huge numbers of refugees into the country, but failing to recognise the problem of bringing people from places that share very different attitudes and cultures. You know, this is a serious problem that is just constantly being ignored, and meanwhile girls are being raped. Not just the young girls in the grooming gangs, but just girls on the street as well. This is chaotic. This is insane. It's literally insanity. And if the government really is concerned about protecting people abroad, do more to protect the women. Do more to protect our own women first, our own people first. And if out of that huge billions and billions budget for foreign aid, you really want to help people, stop focusing on bringing people in who will commit crimes like this and start focusing instead on the victims of those crimes in the UK and abroad. If you want to see more from me and the rest of the Rebel team, remember to like and subscribe.